So if you could be here around 9, that would be great. Okay?
Well, listen here.
Hello, and welcome to 90 Day Fiancé UK. I'm Mr. O, and today, Miss H and I will be discussing the Season 7 Tell-All Part 1 of Before the 90 Days. In this episode, after all the couples get to New York for the tell-all, Adnan mocks and fights with basically everyone on stage, Loren tells us about one of his beverages of choice, and Bozo can't stick around because he's late for a very important meeting about cinematography. We'll be back again next week to talk about Part 2 of the tell-all, and we're also back on our other channel, Love After Lockup MK, covering the new season of Love During Lockup. Alright, thanks for listening, stay safe, and enjoy!
Hello, Mr. O.
Hello, Miss H.
How are you today?
I'm doing not bad. This is our last week we had a snow week. That stupid snow is so dumb. I feel like I'm going to be in school till like July 4th now because of all these pointless snow days we've had. But we're back in real this time, so I had to get up early this morning and go to work like a normal person.
Oh gosh, yes. Back to work. And I guess it's kind of work that they have to go to this tell-all.
I mean, it seemed like work. Some of them made it seem like more work than other people did.
Oh gosh, some people were really working this.
Yeah.
But let's talk about a couple couples that were barely on this episode, which is fine. And they were actually the couples that, for me, they were trying to stay out of the drama. We got Veah and Sunny. So Veah is not there in person because when she got back from South Africa, she actually got very sick. And it ends up that she had gallstones and she lost 50 pounds. I can't tell because she's on video chat, like what she looks like. Like,
right.
She was already kind of skinny to begin with. I'm a little worried. 50 pounds is
50
a
pounds,
lot.
yes. Like, that's a significant chunk of her body weight,
gosh.
for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that's half of her. She says she's on the mend, but she wasn't well enough to travel, which is why she wasn't there. And then we also had a tiny bit of Joe, mostly. Joe, he's walking in this tell-all. He thinks he's awesome. He thinks he's nice. He's not too worried about what everyone has to say about his situation, because he thinks everyone else is a train wreck and they're in no place to be giving any kind of advice. So Joe is asked immediately why he's constantly calling his girlfriend Magda. And he reasons that people in Poland actually call her Majna. And he just confused the two, and Magda never corrected him. So there is his official explanation of where Magna comes from. Yeah, it did sound like he kind of took half of one pronunciation and half of another and spliced them together, but he's still an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, I've also had not my significant other tell me that you've been pronouncing my name wrong for this whole time, but I've done it to students. I've done it to students. Gosh. Yeah.
Breaks my heart. I'm like, why didn't you say anything? It's like the entire year I've been calling you this. My goodness.
Yeah. So it totally can happen. But I think you're right. Both of these couples were just like Joe, and specifically Joe was like, people are going to talk shit. I don't have to say anything back. I can just shut down, shut up, and ride this thing out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Joe, honestly, his strategy is to just not look like an absolute tool. And I think he knows at least enough to be like, keep your mouth shut and you won't look like an absolute tool.
Yes. Some people didn't get that. So let's talk about Brian. Brian and Ingrid also had a little bit, we're barely in it. Now, the people who are barely in it, I think this is, oh my God, I think it's 4 parts.
Oh, God, shush.
Yeah.
No.
And so they're going to get coming. They're going to get in.
Gosh.
So Brian, he's anxious because he thinks that Ingrid might make him out to be the bad guy. But you know what? He has tea. He has all the dirt on Ingrid. So he's going to prove it. She's no angel. Like, that's what we hear from him outside. So when he gets to the studio, he greets Loren and is also like, dude, what the hell, man? So during introductions, Sean asks if they're still broken up, and they both say, yes, we are very much broken up, but also we also have new people, which was news to both of them. So this, of all the people, these are the most broken up, I feel like. However, the two that are not the most broken up are the other people that we didn't hear a ton from in terms of their story, we heard a ton from one of them in terms of everybody else's story, and that's Niles and Matilda. So we see him coming to the studio. He's on his FaceTime, and him and Matilda are doing the squishy thing. Squishy face, squishy. It was weird. They say that it's been 10 months since they've seen each other in person, and it's been pretty hard. So turns out the visa process is really slow. When she asked him when she asked him why it's been so slow, he has a little bit of takes a little dig at some other people on the stage where it's like, well, if you don't have a lot of money, then I guess the people don't move as fast, huh? So he says all of his fees are paid, but he still has like $4,000 of her fees to pay and doesn't know where that's going to come from because it can't come from his parents because his parents still don't approve of the relationship and still think she's a scammer. And then they do talk a little while about like, what a terrible scammer. Why would you do that? Well, everybody jokes about terrible scammer, but except for Brian, who's like, oh, no. A smart scammer, she comes after poor people. So if she was really scamming and wanted the green card, she'd be coming after somebody just like you. And everybody's just like, shut up. So,
oh my God.
Well, especially because Matilda the entire time was like, he was like, well, if he lives in Peru, would you want to come to Peru? And she was like, yeah, that'd be fine. He can come to Ghana if he wants. That sounds great. Like, I just want to be with him. And he's just like, and also Brian is like, the streets are gold. There's just like caviar and the rivers in America. Everyone wants to come here. So it was weird. But those are the two people I had that we heard. I'm sure we'll hear much more from in later episodes.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of visas, let's start off with our couple who actually does have a visa, and maybe they threw money at the situation to make it better, but that was Adnan and Tiger Lily. So Adnan, he says he's living in the U.S. with his wife. The visa process happened very quickly, and now he's joining in the fishing and driving cars in the U.S., is what he said. Tiger Lily knows the other couples will think that Adnan is controlling, and she knows that he'll have opinions about everything. Adnan refuses to shake hands with Vanja because she's a woman. Adnan says that he's excited to meet everyone, but he will not respect anyone who doesn't respect his relationship. When we check in, Tiger Lily reveals that their baby was born 6 weeks ago. We find out that Adnan took back power of attorney from his brother. Adnan thinks it made sense for their situation, and it was his blood. But Adnan refused to sign a postnuptial agreement because, as he says, it opens the devil door. They bring on Cruz, Tiger Lily's glam squad, or at least half of it, to comment on their relationship. Cruz says that he feels they rushed to have children, and Tiger Lily insists that she wasn't forced into anything, and she knew she wanted to marry him. Vanja asks if they feel like they wanted more time to get to know each other, and Adnan keeps interjecting, asking, why wait? And why? Why? They don't really answer other than that, and they move on to the double standard argument. Adnan is mocking Vanja's reaction. Sean calls out Tiger Lily, saying that she seemed to agree with Vanja during her interviews, but she is mysteriously quiet now. Tiger Lily says that with the clothing argument, it was because she didn't know the rules, and now that she knows what they are, she can follow them, and Adnan even adheres to some of the rules, like not having a female doctor or shaking hands with women. Vanja says that Tiger Lily's probably been beaten down, and now he's dismissive. Adnan continues to mock Vanja and tells her that they are fixing their problems now and not to just fight. Adnan says that Tiger Lily is happy, and Niles says that he's sounding defensive. Adnan says that he's doing the best for his family, and he is not a controlling man. They call him out for bobbing his head whenever Vanja speaks, and he tries to play it off like, what are you talking about? I'm not doing anything. We see a never-before-seen footage clip of Tiger Lily speaking with Adnan's mom. Tiger Lily has a ridiculous stuffed bunny case on her phone, and his mom is telling her that Arabs, they dress covered, but she is not obligated to follow those rules, and Adnan and his brother should not be oppressing their wives. His mom continues to say that Tiger Lily shouldn't have to be submissive. Tiger Lily is confused by what his mom is saying, and it seems that she's not on the same page as Adnan. Adnan warns Tiger Lily to be careful. Tiger Lily says that his rules are all to keep the marriage strong. No one seems to think that Adnan considers themselves equals. Niles then laughs maniacally, and Joe thinks that Tiger Lily is holding back and is walking on eggshells. So Adnan agrees to leave and tells them to be careful, otherwise there will be problems. He calls them all stupid when he walks behind the scenes or backstage. Tiger Lily says that she will say whatever she wants. She says that she's not feeling like herself right now because she just had a baby, in response to Brian saying that she's a hair away from wearing a burqa. Tiger Lily insists that Adnan is also not mad. Tiger Lily seems to have missed the part where Adnan threatened everyone when he left. Vanja and Tiger Lily hug as she goes to get Adnan. Adnan asks her if anyone annoyed her. Tiger Lily thinks they're all just being haters just because their relationship is the most successful. Vanja just wants to make sure that Tiger Lily is happy at the end of the day. Adnan goes back to confront everyone else. Vanja says it's not okay to tell your wife you have a small mind. Adnan says that they just can't understand him. Brian calls him hard-headed and egotistic and tells him that he's in a wheelchair because he was also once young and stupid. Adnan excuses himself and says that he likes his life. He doesn't want to hear things from losers. Later, they come back to the stage. Adnan says that he doesn't want to take advice from Brian, who doesn't care about his family. Brian says that he wasn't listening to what he was actually saying, and that's really just maturity talking, and Tiger Lily just wants a more mature man, and Tiger Lily doesn't want to be dragged into this and have words put in her mouth. Adnan thinks that Niles would feel just as jealous if Matilda dressed away, and Matilda agrees, which makes Adnan laugh, also maniacally. There's a lot of maniacal laughing on this episode, at the idea of stopping jealousy, and then calls Niles a sugar daddy. And then this is where things start to escalate towards the end because Niles is threatening to break his face. But
yeah. So the sugar daddy thing also came up after, like, Niles talking about how I'm broke and I don't have any money and that clearly can't be why Matilda. Adnan wasn't on stage for any of that.
Right.
And then when they came back, he was like, here's a sugar daddy. And so it was like, it really struck home.
Adnan is, he's just very immature. He is hard-headed. He's incredibly immature. He doesn't really care to even put up the appearances of listening, right? And I think that's why he's so incredibly infuriating. It's like, if he just smiled and nodded.
Oh, yeah. He could get everybody off him 100%.
Right.
Yeah. He like, do the Joe thing. Be like, I'm sorry you feel that way. I feel differently.
Right.
Right. Then that would be the end of it. They wouldn't be able to come after him.
Right. And it's like, it just seems like such a simple little thing that he could have done to not make him a target, because he's not wrong in that everyone is kind of ganging up against him.
Sure.
But for decent reason, and I think anyone watching this is probably infuriated by his immature behavior as well, and just his reactions to it is just making the situation so much worse.
Yeah. I mean, so if this was an Am I the Asshole like post, I'm on everybody sucks here. I don't think anybody comported themselves well. He just, I think people came after him harder, not because of what they actually thought about him or what he actually did, but because he was being a pompous ass.
Yeah.
And people were like, what do you think? Very much what do you think? You're better than me? You think you're better than Lily? You think you're better than everybody? Well, here, God damn it. And then they came after him. Right.
Right.
But I don't think that what they were, but the people that did come after him were also infuriating me because they were not interpreting things in a fair-minded way. It was like anything that he says is the worst. Like, he left and was more or less when he left the stage. He said, basically told everybody, hey, I'm going to leave because you guys think I'm not letting Lily talk. I'm going to leave. She'll say whatever. But if any of you come after her, I'm going to kick your ass. And they're like, oh my God, did he just threaten his wife? Oh my God, is he going to beat his wife? And it's like, where did you get that? That's not what he said. He's going to say to kick your ass if you're mean to his wife. That's a very different thing.
Yeah. How he was mocking Vanya was
the head bobbing
super-
was annoying.
It was super annoying because it's kind of like the physical representation of nah, 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 nah.
Oh yeah, it was like basically doing the hand thing with your mouth. Meh, 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 meh. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
And like, but honestly, like, if he had just kept his mouth shut or I guess kept his head still, I might have sided with him because it's like,
yes.
Since when is Vanya the champion of all women? And I get that she's saying women empowerment and stuff like that, but in this particular instance, like, Tiger Lily, she was there when he called her small-minded. This wasn't like something that was behind her back. If she's kind of okay with him saying things like that, and she's okay with choosing this, and like she said, no one's forcing her, I mean, yeah, I think she's an idiot, but she's also making this choice for herself, and so she doesn't need anyone's help.
Yes, so much of this was, yes, Lily, you could say what you want about her, but she did not go into this unknowing. She was eyes open. Everything was out in the open. Everything you're saying is terrible about him was not hidden. She knows about it. She saw it, and she chose that this is it. So it definitely is one of those things where the right move would have been like, I'm sorry you guys think that way, but this is what works for us. Yeah. And we're going to continue to do what works for us. Right? Like that, it kind of sets it up. But so many of the things that were just going, Vanya would not let go of the goddamn small mind thing. Right. Even though, to me, it's pretty goddamn clear that he just didn't understand the difference in phrases in English between closed-minded and small-minded. Right? He meant closed-minded. He meant you're not being open to what other people think. And he said small mind instead of closed mind. And now months later, this woman is standing on stage and yelling at him about it and won't let it go. Right. Yeah. And that's just like, that's it for somebody whose English is not their first language. That does seem really infuriating. Now, does that justify being like, shut up, you little tiny woman. I'm not listening to you. Like, no, he's still an asshole. But people weren't giving him fair shakes. And people weren't really analyzing the situation. Like the other one that came up that bothered me was when they talked about when it came up and it was in Arabic and it was, the mom was saying, I taught my sons not to control their wives. Right. And it said control. And he was like, oh no, that word in Arabic doesn't mean control, like, tell people what to do. It means control, like abuse. And they're all like telling him, no, it doesn't. And he's like, none of you speak Arabic. What are you talking about?
Yeah. He's not making any friends on this show. And quite honestly, how could you feel sorry for Tiger Lily? It's like, this is not your typical situation where the partner is in some kind of position where she is unable to get out of.
Right. The power dynamics are not the same. She has every ability to get out of this relationship and be on her own if she wants. And she doesn't want to. And so doesn't. And it seems like, but it also seems like people are taking their frustrations about other things out specifically on Adnan because he's just an unlikable person to be around.
Yes.
Right.
He's an unlikable ass. Let's put it out there. He just is. I hate this guy's face.
Yeah. Right. But I think that Vanya was upset that a woman would put herself in the position that Tiger Lily did. And so instead of taking it, but she can't come after Tiger Lily for being like, why would you enter this relationship where you're being controlled and tells you what you can wear and he tells you what you didn't. How could you do that to yourself? She yells at him, right? And the other thing is, I think Niles, who also who was also very angry. I think Niles is just mad that they got a visa and he didn't.
Well, yeah, because they do have, I'm sure they
he thinks
kind of threw money at this problem.
And so he just thinks that someone who doesn't love his wife as much as he does got the visa and he's here and my wife's back in Africa and I can't even talk to her for 10 months. And this asshole, he's here with his wife. Fuck that guy. Right?
Yeah, there certainly can be some jealousy there. But yeah, this guy, he sucks, but he's here and, it's just whatever. Just ignore him. Ignore his idiocy.
That's the thing to everybody. And And I feel like the one that came out is like, feel like Sonny was just over there being like, please don't ask me about Muslim. Please don't ask me about Muslim. Please don't ask me about Muslim.
Well, okay. The one thing that I can see Vanja kind of maybe being upset about is the fact that he is with someone, but not like in a jealous way, like I wish I had him, but it's like, this guy sucks. Like, he really should be alone. He should be single. You know, I can't believe anyone would actually want to be with this man. Mm-hmm. And so I can kind of see her being like, just make him alone and miserable and get what he deserves, because how is it that he is with someone and someone like Vanja is struggling, you know, just to be in a relationship when she is clearly, when it comes to at least personal stuff, maybe this episode aside, arguably much better person than Adnan.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of the classic, you know, frustrations of a tell-all is to watch all the people on stage go after mostly they go after the wrong person. Yeah. It's like, wait, what? There's a way bigger asshole on stage. Why is everyone ganging up on him? Like, what's going on? And they get charmed. Or in this case, I think it was frustrating because they were going after him for the wrong things.
Yeah.
Is what I was like, is what was bothering me the most. And I was like, there's plenty of asshole-ish things to go after this guy for. And now you're like going after, it was just very frustrating. But I feel like based on the previews, we're going to get even more hatred, even bigger asshole when he starts poking his nose into other people's business, because he wouldn't have done that if he had not first been disrespected.
Yes, and that's what's also annoying to me too, is he's like, oh, we won't have problems if I'm not disrespected, but now he's going to be like the chaos person, right?
Yes.
The person who's bringing chaos just to bring chaos because he's like, well, you came after me,
after me, so I have to come after you too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to create chaos and make everybody's life is a living hell. So I'm just like, fuck you, dude.
But I mean, that's part of his entitlement, right? Is like, and this is where I draw the difference. I'm anticipating when we get to Joe's going to be like, you got a point there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Well, that's not what I did. Like, and that's it, right? Whereas this guy fights back. This guy is just such a pompous ass that he's just like, how dare you tell me I was wrong? Who are you to tell me I'm wrong? That's disrespect.
Arguably, Adnan has a lot less to lose, right? Because Adnan already has a wife.
That's true. Yes.
And a family. Right. Whereas Joe, I think the reason why he is really trying to stay away from coming off as a tool is he really wants to milk the fandom for attention, female attention, if things don't work out with him and Magda. Oh, Magda! Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm even calling her Magda. Oh
you got you doing it.
Idiot.
All right. Well, since you said idiot, let's talk about Loren.
Oh gosh, yes.
Because this guy is
king of idiots.
Oh my goodness. Very, very, very unspeakably dumb. So we actually start the show with Loren, and he's getting out of a subway platform in Queens and talking to the pigeons for some reason.
Weird.
I think part of it is Loren is one of the few people we've had that has just like, he has no caring about his conception, how he is seen outside the world. So no matter what dumb thing the producers tell him to do, he just does it. Unquestioningly, just does it. So he's saying he's expecting a lot of shit from the other cast members. And then, you know, we hear backstage that he's actually still in touch with the woman that gave him gonorrhea, who shall remain nameless. It's like, just that's her name. The woman who gave me gonorrhea. So we get on stage. Sean asks if he has spoken to Faith since they got back to the States. And he says that, you know, for like a week or a month, they didn't talk, but now they talk almost every single day. And actually, they're engaged now. Faith, who obviously isn't there and is there in video, doesn't seem to be very excited about that. She does not smile the entire time. We're on here. No, doesn't crack anything, and doesn't have a ring. And he says the reason she doesn't have a ring is because he bought a ring and put it in a package, but then drug addicts went through it and took the ring out. I don't know if it's before he sent it, after he sent it. I don't know if they went through it and stole the ring, but he sent the empty box. I'm not sure, but drug addicts stole the ring. So Sean asks Faith if she considers herself to be engaged because he said they were engaged. And she says no. So when they come back to, after introductions and everything, they come back to them. And Sean asks Faith if they're officially back together at least as boyfriend and girlfriend. And Faith says they are. But then she cries about how hard things are for her. She keeps repeatedly being like, I'm not happy with this relationship, but I don't know what else to do. So Vanja suggests that maybe she's not actually in love with this guy and she's just trauma bonded. Vanja did a psychoanalysis of like everybody on stage. Yeah. So Faith says she's drawn to this relationship because, she wants to be in love and, thinks about the good things Loren did, but also doesn't seem to think she has any other options for somebody that's going to accept her. So Niles chimes in. He has a very low opinion of Loren and he starts putting it out there right now. Just pulling out the old, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And when asked to clarify, believe what, Niles? He says he didn't like the threatening gestures. What he describes as threatening gestures from Loren when he was doing that thing with the knife in his hand. And I don't know. And says that Loren must not hear himself when he talks because he's like, I didn't say anything bad. He's like, did you? Yes, you did. Anyways, Vanja says he doesn't seem to take anything seriously. And Joe even chimes in on this one. I was like, yeah, like how you seem to smile whenever you're saying terrible things to people. And Loren says that's just a defense mechanism. Like when he feels upset, basically he smiles, like his face goes into a smile, which is not ridiculous to me because I've definitely had students who, when you yell at them, smile because they're uncomfortable and that's just what their face does. Anyway, so he can't really help it. So Niles says that Faith should not be with Loren. They ask him and he says, should Faith be with Loren? And he says, hell to the fucking no. So Sean asks for a show of hands of who thinks Faith should have just left him forever. And it looks like almost everybody. Adnan and Tiger Lily didn't raise their hands, but everybody else on stage did. Well, besides like Loren, obviously. And Loren knows that's more or less what people think about him. He's not, completely unaware of what's out there. So Vanja says it just seems like everything he did was just a lie on top of a lie on top of a lie. And Brian comes in and chimes in here and asks Faith about, well, are you just afraid of being alone? And she's like, well, I've been alone before. That's not it. I can be by myself. And Niles points out that she doesn't seem really happy right now. So then we come back to the knife thing. And she asks about that. And Loren is just like, it was a nervous tick. I was doing all kinds of stuff with the knife. I was tapping it on the table. I was tapping it on my leg. That was just the thing that the cameras happened to focus on. And then Magda brings up all the lies. And he's like, there were no lies, just misunderstandings. I told her everything I did. She just didn't understand it. Like, she didn't understand when I said that I sleep with all my friends, that I meant I had sex with all my friends. And they ask her, and she's like, I don't remember. When he left, I deleted all the messages. I can't even look back. So at that point, they bring out Loren's friend and one of his exes, Esther. So Esther was a person, we saw him before he left, the person he was talking with. Esther says that Loren has a history of relationship jump. Esther seems to hate this dude, by the way. She has literally nothing good to say about him.
But that's weird because it's her best friend.
I know it's her best friend. And she doesn't say, oh, this motherfucker. She's not mad about it, but she has no good things to say about this dude. So anyway, he has a history of relationship jumping and just keeping people on the back burner. And, kind of also says that, well, it's kind of Faith's fault. She never told him not to sleep around, which is definitely something that other people are like, nope. Vanja, I think specifically, was like, nope, that's an understood condition of a relationship. No, you can't do that. Anyway, we get sidetracked by, and then, I don't know, there was a lot of sidetracking going on at some point. Loren talked about how he likes to jump off cliffs and falls for pyramid schemes and all kinds of scams, like the scam that was the Filipino woman he was seeing before he met Faith.
Oh my gosh.
Who turns out he thought from what I gathered, he met online a completely different Filipino woman that he thought was a trans woman, but was not a trans woman because she was scamming. Yes. Right? Mm-hmm. And so she got him to buy a ticket to the Philippines and whatever. Then the scam came out. She disappeared. She ghosted him. And now Loren was just stuck with a ticket to the Philippines and was like, well, I better find another Filipino trans woman to get in bed with. And that's when he met Faith. So we're supposed to believe now that this is an actual relationship. It's like, oh. So, obviously the question comes up, wait, did you care for Faith, or was she just the first available Filipino trans woman that was to her? And he was like, yeah, what does that matter? Whatever.
Oh my God,
it's
idiot.
hunky-dory awesome sauce. He literally said hunky-dory awesome sauce. But, maybe things aren't that great with Faith, because during that small time when they weren't together, when they weren't talking, he immediately had sex with gonorrhea girl again.
Why? Why would you go back to that?
Oh, yeah. It's just some people are just horny, I guess. Horny enough that it's like,
whatever's a
that
sure
gonorrhea
thing.
cleared up. I'll get it again. Sure.
God.
Just take some antibiotics. So Faith kind of knew this, but doesn't want to think about it. And she says that she really does see all the good things in him, but also sees more bad things in him. Then we get a never before seen moment, which blows the other never before seen moment out of the goddamn water, because this is a never before seen moment where Loren is having fun and telling her about the things he likes, one of which is to drink pee.
Yeah, no.
So Adnan is like, I can't even listen to that. I gotta go. Niles, and that's when Niles comes in and says he's stupid and evil. And Niles' assessment of the situation in the car when he told Faith that he liked to drink pee was that Loren was intentionally making Faith uncomfortable because it gave him power over the current situation. And that is an evil thing to do. So Veah says it doesn't come across as if he loves Faith at all. So Brian suspects that Faith is just afraid to lose something. Brian thinks everybody's scamming, right?
Yeah,
so
he
he's
does.
like, oh, so it's the money. You don't want to lose the money. You can admit that you don't want to lose the money. There's nothing wrong with that. And she's like, not really, because he sent money, but I haven't spent any of it. I just put it in the bank because I don't feel comfortable spending it. So he says that he sent about $8,000 to $10,000 that he saved up by just not eating. Even though she never asked for the money, he just feels like it would be wrong to not give her money. So then they get to a round table. Everybody's talking, adding some stuff about scams and love. And then we divert back into pee, and whether squirting is pee or not comes up.
God.
And that was the cue for Sean to just be like, and next up we have, and we moved on to the next couple. So I would say this, right? I think Loren got piled on by everybody, at least as much as Adnan did.
Yeah.
Right? But he kind of more or less handled it the way we wanted Adnan to handle it, right?
Yeah. Kind of like, he didn't seem bothered by any of it.
Yes.
Right? And he wasn't retaliating. He wasn't fighting back. He just kind of was very in his own way, accepting of things, trying to explain things, but not too defensive.
Sure.
So, it may not have looked all that the same just because he's kind of an odd bird, but
yeah,
but he's reacting the way that we would expect someone who is a little bit more mature than Adnan to react.
Right. And especially because he kind of recognizes the things that are meant to get a rise out of him, and is just like, I'm going to let that go. I'm not gonna engage with that. You can call me stupid and evil. He's going to be like, okay, that's what you think.
Right. It kind of makes me wonder a little bit, is he trying to also get a rise out of other people by saying these outrageous things?
Well, and I think that is certainly what Niles thinks. And that's why Niles called him evil, is because you keep saying these outrageous things, because when you say the outrageous thing and everybody goes, oh, you made everybody do what you wanted them to do.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think it's evil. I just think it's I'm the word is escaping me. The people who just want to create chaos for the sake of chaos.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of trolly.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, he definitely feels very much like a troll. Like, this will get everybody laughing and talking. Well, I'll say this. Ha ha. Like, because he even at some point says that. He's like, they're like, why the fuck would you tell her that you, like, in that moment, right? Out of nowhere. Oh, by the way, when I have sex, I like to drink the pee. Why would you come up with that out of nowhere? And he's like, we're having fun. It was fun. And I was like, is that fun?
And he said that, like, he's had that excuse for a couple of things, too.
Yes.
We're just having fun. Oh, I was just having fun with the knife. Oh, I was just having fun touching this person's cheek, you know? Like, oh, it's all just in good fun. Like, it's a big old joke.
Yeah, which is where it comes across as, and that, paired with the weird smiling habit that he has, really makes it look like you don't take anything seriously.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
And so... But it's really hard to get under the skin and get the Adnan type reaction from somebody who doesn't take it seriously. I don't give a shit what you say. I don't take this seriously.
Yeah. Well, speaking of someone who doesn't take things seriously, one half of the Vanja and Bozo.
Oh my God, this is the funniest.
Vanja thinks that this tell-all is her chance to get her side of the story out and have everyone listen. When she meets Niles, he mistakes her for Tiger Lily, but she's a pretty good sport about it. Vanja already has an opinion about Adnan and his way of trying to control Tiger Lily. Vanja feels disappointment and sadness seeing Bozo's face on the screen because he is there virtually. Mm-hmm. And Bozo is cracking jokes off the bat. We get a short recap with Vanja saying she wants a ring and Bozo saying that they are nice friends and Bozo saying that he doesn't feel romantic things. We then see Vanja calling him out about saying, I love you, and Bozo laughing it off like no big deal. Bozo continues to laugh. Everyone sides with Vanja, but Bozo says that he was always joking over text, calling her wifey, but he didn't mean it or feel it in real life. Everyone says that he should mean what he says. Bozo says that he wanted to protect her, so that's why he ended things. Brian says that she put pressure on him to shit or get off the pot, so what does she expect? And everyone wonders why he wasn't interested, and Bozo said that Vanja was out of his league, which isn't a real answer.
Mm-hmm.
So Sanella, Vanja's cousin, comes out and asks why he didn't even try. Bozo says that he did try, and he was trying to be respectful. Vanja says that he wasn't trying to see where it goes. Adnan is confused why Bozo wasn't interested, because he's like, she's a beautiful woman. I don't understand. Joe asks if Bozo has a girlfriend because it seems like he's worried about how it all looks. He asks if he's ever reconnected with the ex he left Vanja for the first time. Vanja says that ex actually ended up messaging her. The ex was trying to see if Bozo was emotionally cheating on her. Bozo says that there was no overlap, or as he puts it, sitting on two chairs. Magda points out that he always considered Vanja a friend, so based on that definition, it wouldn't really count. Bozo keeps making random American movie references to, like, anger management and Home Alone, and Vanja says that the math just isn't mathing. Bozo insists that he's honest, and he's lost a lot of sleep over the situation because he doesn't want to repeat these mistakes in the future. Bozo wishes her the best, and then he's all of a sudden, like, things started getting too uncomfortable. And then he says that he's 2 hours late to a meeting. And then Vanja calls him out saying, what meeting do you have at 10 p.m.? Because that's the time it is in Croatia.
In Croatia, right.
So he ignores all the questions and is like, okay, I gotta go, bye, and leaves as Adnan then gets in front of the monitor that had his face on it. And it's now of an empty room, and he's once again asking why? Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, I laughed so hard.
So ridiculous. I don't know. What is Adnan? Adnan is such a bizarre dude, but so is Bozo.
I mean, Adnan on that one is also, we talked about Adnan being immature, but he's also superficial. And he's like, but hot blonde woman wanted to sleep with you. I don't understand.
Yeah,
why are we doing this?
Weirdo. Speaking of, okay, so do you think that Bozo is capable of being serious about anything?
I mean, probably not, but this specific instance is one of those things where we have to take ourselves, at least in my opinion, you have to take yourself out of the flow of the show, out of the world of the show, the thing we've saw through Vanya's eyes. This guy went through a bad breakup, probably got in a little bit too deep with someone on messaging as a rebound, right?
Right.
And then, she ended up visiting. He came, got spooked. She came on really strong, got spooked. He wasn't feeling it. Was like, this was a mistake. Tries to break it off with her as nice as he can. And then that's it. That's the relationship. That was it, right? And then months or a year later, they're like, we need you to come on the TV show and tell us what you thought about this random woman that you were messaging a year ago about this. And he's like, putting him through all this, which wasn't a serious relationship to him. That's the biggest thing, is he might be capable of taking something seriously. He wasn't taking this seriously because it wasn't serious to him. And so they bring him on, and now they're like all hounding him about how being dishonest. I mean, I feel like I might have an important meeting about cinematography that I need to get to as well. He said it was about cinematography.
Yeah, I feel like that was just his way of saying, I'm late to go see a movie and basically do anything other than be here.
I'm 2 hours late for an important meeting about cinematography. And then he tried to say peace out, so he put the peace up, and he's on FaceTime, so the balloons came out. And then Vanya. And they're like, are you celebrating? What are you doing?
Vanya was confused what that was. She's like, and here you are not even taking it seriously and you're just celebrating. It's like, those were not real balloons, Vanya. Calm down.
Yeah, those were that is, if you don't have an iPhone, if you're on FaceTime and you flash a peace sign to someone, they do balloons.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was just kind of a huge mess, I think. They're clearly not on the same page. This is not the right guy, even remotely, for her. And I kind of feel just bad for her because, from someone, if you take people at their word, not realizing that this guy is just a huge jokester. I mean, it's in his name, right?
Yeah.
Just a huge jokester. It's I would also take everything he said at face value, and it's that's not what he means. Right.
It wasn't, but yeah, he didn't, and that's just him. It's but that's my sense of humor. I didn't mean any of that. I meant it as it was all a joke. And they're like, so life is so Vanya is just a joke to you? He was like, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was. And then until she got here, that's when I realized, she's not joking, right? And then all of a sudden, then he's like, and that's why he's like, I did it to protect you, blah, blah, blah. That's where that all came from, is him being like, oh shit, she's not joking. Me and her are not on the same page at all.
Yeah, but I mean, he should have figured that out when he said that she was coming over there. And I honestly, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that he just had been joking the whole time. He had a conversation with his mom. His mom definitely in her mind is like, well, hopefully this is the one and that you'll get married off, and he never said anything to his mom to say otherwise, right? So there's certainly evidence through kind of the very early stages that he did see her as someone that he could take seriously and that he did see her as a girlfriend, and then he's immediately backtracking and say, nice friend.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he just didn't like her when she was in person. Yeah. And there's nothing you can do about that. And that's the part that's frustrating to me, is at the end of the day, they just won't accept that as an answer. Well, why didn't you want to make it work? He's like, because I didn't want to. I didn't want to try to make it work. Yeah, but I mean, but the answer also is not to gaslight her and be like, you made up that whole relationship. I was just kidding the whole time. Yeah, that's probably true. But yeah. And that's just him, I don't know, making it up, being but I think that's him just trying to not be like, listen, you got off the plane and you just gave me crazy vibes and I didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
He does. He's trying not to hurt her feelings, but he's just not good at it.
No, he's terrible at it. But yeah, we'll probably never see him again, so we don't have to.
No, his cinematography meeting is still going on. It's a very long meeting. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So out of the group we saw this week, who would you say is your student of the week?
I'm trying to think of the people we actually saw, right? I kind of want to get something from the people we talked through. They were all pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to give it to Joe just because he shut his mouth.
I did too. It's like, yeah, you know the drill. You know the steps to take to make you look the least terrible.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because he knew it. He was like, listen, they're all going to come after me. They're going to think I'm some douchebag. Like, I accept that, and I'm going to do what I can to mitigate it. Because the people who didn't do what they could to mitigate it, they're not going to be our students of the week.
Yeah, exactly. Who would you say is your dunce?
I'm going to say Loren. I think there's two pretty obvious choices here. Loren drove me a little bit nuts just because this guy was like, every time he talked, I was like, and the stupid and evil thing, right? I guess that is the question on Loren, is how much of it is stupid and how much of it is evil, right? How much of it is malicious instead of rather evil, right?
Yeah. Like
is how much of what he does. And then the fact that she was like, oh no, he's fallen for like 12 pyramid schemes. And I was like, oh, it might all be stupid.
Yeah. That's sad that that's your defense. Yeah. I went with the obvious Adnan. I mean, but I will say that Niles close second. Just
Niles
because,
was not good.
No, just how he like was inserting himself and had an opinion on everything. That's not someone that I would kind of envision. I did not envision that he was the guy coming after people on this tell-all.
Right. Yeah. Right. For not asked about it. What do you think about this? Just we showed a clip and he's like, let me tell you what. And it's like, why do you have to tell me what?
Right. Yeah. But Adnan, like, he was just straight up rude and disrespectful to people. So.
But they disrespect me. I have to.
Oh, God. All right. What about your life lesson?
My life lesson is we go toward Adnan. I'm not saying Adnan wasn't a jerk, right? But you still have to engage people's arguments at the level, and when you're disagreeing with someone, actually listen to what they're saying and not just react to their emotional state, right? It doesn't progress the conversation any farther to just, think the worst of them because they're pissing you off.
Right. My life lesson kind of along those lines a little bit, inspired by Joe. Sometimes people just want to be heard. And so even if you fundamentally disagree with what they're going to say, or what they're going to say is going to make you angry and piss you off, sometimes it's just easier to smile and nod and just kind of accept it and do your own thing at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because that's what they're going to do. And that seems what Tiger Lily's trying to do. That's what she's like in the back being like, but they don't matter.
Yeah.
They doesn't that. And and just be like, just let it go. Just don't say anything and let it go.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Oh God, I hope you are not right about this 4-part tell-all. That sounds so awful.
Yeah, that's
more than I think we've ever seen. Well, other than the situation where they shoved everyone in that random house at the end.
We had the houses. I feel like 4 has increasingly been the go-to, but especially when one of the entire couples for the show is just not there.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, Vanja basically counts as 2 couples.
Oh, that's true, because we're going to have a whole other Vanja segment with
Joshko. Yeah. All right, so, but we'll be back again the same time next week.
Yep, we'll see everybody then.
Okay, until then.
Okay, all right.
Okay, bye.